Hello everybody, Lord Almighty here. Today is Saturday, November 9th, 2019, and I've been jonesing for a good largemouth bass bite for quite a while. So I've come down here to one of my local ponds that can give up good numbers of bass. It's not necessarily a big bass lake, but it usually gives up some decent numbers, and I'm looking to find some fish that are stacked up on the fall feed. I'm going to start today throwing out my bladed jig swim bait combo, and we'll see if we can find some active fish that have got the feed bags strapped on today. Well, we got a breeze blowing right into this cove here, and some pretty deep water in this spot. So this would really be my first guess as to where some schooling largemouths might be hanging out. But sometimes things don't work out like they do in the textbooks when you're fishing small ponds. Sometimes each little pond has its own different set of rules. You know, you might not get the big schooling bait balls that you get on larger reservoirs. The fish might be relating to more isolated food sources or more isolated pieces of cover. So, while it's certainly worth trying out what you just read in Bassmaster magazine, it might not always work on these smaller bodies of water. So you just got to keep hucking and winding until you find out what works. Ooh, I just had a little bass nip at this. Alright, so I know there's a few fish around then. That's good. I don't know if they're particularly active because that was a super lazy hit. But at least I know they're around. Ooh, there's a fish. Feels kind of decent, although I am using pretty light tackle here. Yeah, there we go. Alrighty, first fish of the day. Little largemouth, maybe a pound or so. Nice vivid stripe on him. Alrighty. Good start, good start. Oh, is that a fish? Oh, that was definitely a bite. Ooh, that was a hit too. There might be a school of fish right out in the middle here. The question is, are they bass? I know there's crappie and sunfish in this lake too. And they'll school up when the water starts getting cold. There's a fish. Oh, don't go towards those sticks. I got 4-pound test here. He went in the sticks anyway, but I got him out. All right, another largie. Okay, good. Nice fat one. They're fattening up for sure. These things are on the feed, and that's what I wanted. Alright everybody, so I fished around this entire pond with the little bladed jig. Nice little luxury to have when you're dealing with small bodies of water like this, is to be able to cover water quickly and work the whole thing in, you know, an hour or so. And here's what I've learned so far. So all of the bites that I've gotten have been away from shore, you know, about at least 30 feet out. Plus I haven't seen any bait fish up shallow. So all the fish seem to be relating to deeper water. And most of the bites that I've gotten, even the fish where I've hooked up, the bites have been pretty light. They're just kind of slapping at it or just sucking the bait in. They're not really crashing it. So while it seems like they were keen on that bait fish profile that the little swim bait gave them, they don't seem to be in a chasing mood. So I think what I'm going to have to do is slow down the presentation and work areas where I got multiple bites. And there were a couple places where I did do that. So that's where we have some fish that might be schooled up. And really the best way to work deep water slowly for schooling fish is, unfortunately, the drop shot rig. So I've got a drop shot rig. I got a little 2.5-inch gulp minnow with a little drop shot weight about a foot below it, and I'm just going to saturate those areas where I got bites before, and I'm going to see if I can't put a few more bass in the bag. As you guys know, I am not fond of fishing the drop shot rig, but if it means catching more fish, looks like I gotta make a sacrifice. Is that a fish? That is a fish. Look at that. First cast with the drop shot. Little largemouth. Oh, come up here. All right. So, preliminary results of my strategy shift seem to be working. Not really the size I want, but there might be some bigger fish mixed in. There's a fish. That was a real light hit. Oh, no wonder. That is a crappie. Notorious for their light hitting. Just kind of picked it up and started swimming with it. Alright, well, not what I was after today, but never a disappointment. Alright guys, well, the drop shot, while it did yield a couple of fish, did not seem like the answer today. As a matter of fact, I actually got more bites with the bladed jig than I did using the drop shot. So what I want to do is I want to try one more thing before I wrap it up today. I am going to try to find a happy medium between those two baits, and I decided to throw around this little suspending jerkbait for a little while. You know, it is a moving bait, so it'll get the fish's attention, but I can fish it on a stop and go retrieve. Plus, it's got that rear treble hook, so if there are any light biters, that back hook might stick them. Whereas with that bladed jig, you know, it just had the one single hook. So we'll see what this does. Oh, there's a fish. Oh, he came off. Dang it. Okay. Well, that was on the jerkbait. So it looks like they're hitting this thing too. Alright guys, well all of a sudden I'm seeing a lot of activity all along this shallow weedy bank here. I'm not exactly sure why. It could be because you know, the sun's been beating down on it during the afternoon. It's warmed it up a couple of degrees and some fish are moving up. But regardless, I'm going to see if I can't catch anything along here. So I tied on this little spinnerbait, and I'm just going to bring it through these shallow weeds and see what I can pick up. Well guys, the spinnerbait didn't turn up any bites, and since it's getting a bit late and I'm starting to get cold and hungry, I'm going to call it a day right here. It wasn't a great day in terms of catching fish. I only caught 4 fish over the course of, you know, maybe 4 or 5 hours of fishing. Conditions were constantly changing on me today. The wind was on and off all day. It started out overcast and then the sun came out. The fish were deep and then they came up shallow later in the day, so really prevented me from getting into any kind of a groove. But on the other hand, it was kind of fun trying to adjust to changing conditions, testing my knowledge, and seeing if I could make adjustments and put some kind of a catch together. And I was partially successful in that. It certainly wasn't a hot bite, but these days that test you a little bit can be a lot of fun too, because they're a tremendous learning experience, and it helps you get more prepared for the next time something like this happens. So today was definitely a lot of fun. Wish I caught more fish, but in the end, I'm pretty glad things turned out the way they did. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I will see you on the next adventure.